Hi, this is Susan Francis. I'm the Deputy Director at the Maryland Volunteer Lawyers Service. And we're going to talk about why you might want to do a financial power of attorney. First, when you're thinking about estate planning, there's actually four documents or four actions you want to think about. And it can be confusing sometimes understanding what they all are and what the differences are. So just to do a quick review, there's an advanced healthcare directive that takes care of your healthcare decisions. There's the financial power of attorney, which we're going to talk about next. There's a will, and that document determines what's going to happen after you pass. And then there's a process of trying to avoid the cost of probate or estate administration. But right now we're going to talk about financial power of attorney. So what is it, and should you have one? So financial power of attorney lets someone else step in your place to handle any of your finances, whether that's paying bills or dealing with an insurance company, anything that you would do, it gives them the power to do that. And so that can be helpful if you're in a position where you can't take care of those things. This person can step in and do that for you. But you want to be really careful with the financial power of attorney because it also can be very dangerous. And so with a financial power of attorney, first you want to think about, should you do one? And the benefit, again, is that someone can take care of your finances for you, and they can do it without you having to add them to your bank account. But that also means that they potentially have access to all of your financial resources because they are the financial power of attorney. So you really want to make sure, if you're going to do one, that you pick someone that you trust. So if you've decided that you do want to do a financial power of attorney, then there's some choices that you need to make. So the first choice you're going to make is, who are you going to name as that agent? And again, you want to name someone that you absolutely trust, that would have access to these resources. And that might be a family member, it might be a friend. You really just want to make sure you've picked the person that's really going to operate in your best interest. You can also name a primary agent, or you can name joint agents if you want to have more than one person overseeing that process. So then the next thing that you want to think about is when the financial power of attorney is going to take effect. And much like whether you do one at all, whether you do it immediately or if you do one that's what we call springing, there are both benefits and negatives to that. So if you do a financial power of attorney today and you make it effective today, the benefit to that is someone can step in at any time you need, and that's really easy. The negative is they could also walk right over to your bank and clear everything out of your savings or checking account. The springing, which is a little bit safer, is where it only comes into play when you are incapacitated, meaning that you can't make these decisions for yourself. So the benefit to that is you're more protected, and that person wouldn't have access to your financial accounts until you're incapacitated. The negative to that is, in order to for a bank to acknowledge that you are indeed incapacitated, that person has to get two doctors to sign a form that says that you are incapacitated. So there is some hurdles involved with that, which again can sort of be a benefit or a negative. So some of the other decisions you need to make once you've decided who and when is there's a section that we call special instructions, and there's some language you can put in there that just kind of minimize the exposure again for your account. So we can put things in there like you can cap how much your agent for the gifts, how much money they can give in gifts to anyone. Or you can say, my agent needs to give a monthly or quarterly report to somebody else. Or you can say, I trust my agent to make these decisions, but I'm not going to give them access to something else. So for example, you can prevent them from changing any beneficiaries that you've identified in retirement accounts, insurance accounts, and those sorts of things. So you would just want to think about, is there any kind of limiting language that you would want to include in that section? One of the other things you have to decide is some guardianship choices. And the reason that we do an advanced healthcare directive and a financial power of attorney is avoiding guardianship, so that if you do lose capacity, these documents will take care of that. But this form does let you also identify if for whatever reason there's still a guardianship proceeding. This is your way to communicate to a judge who it is that you would want to be the guardian of you. And it's both for guardian of the person and guardian of the property. And you can choose two different people. So maybe the person that would take care of you, your sort of physical you, might be a different person that would take care of your finances. So in terms of financial power of attorney, those are all of the decisions that you have to make. The biggest decision, again, is whether this document is right for you, and if you have the right individuals in your life to trust with giving this sort of authority to. In terms of the form, this is the form that you want to use. This was passed by our Maryland General Assembly, and it is called the Maryland Statutory Form for Personal Financial Power of Attorney. You can just Google that and this form will come up. The reason you want to use this form is banks are required to accept this form. They may reject other financial powers of attorney, but they cannot reject this form. When you do this form, in order to complete it, you have to sign it. You need 2 witnesses, and this document needs to be notarized. Once you have the form done, you'll want to keep a copy for yourself. If you trust the person that you are naming as your financial power of attorney, you can give them a copy. It's also a good idea to file a copy with your bank, any of your financial accounts, so they have on record your wishes about who's going to have access to your finances. And that's really all you need to do. So again, think about whether this document is the right document for you. Go online and get the statutory form, and go ahead and make the decisions that are right for you. Thank you.